Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Long ago, in a blessed land, there lived a noble prophet named Yaqub, known as Jacob. He was a man chosen by Allah, and through him came a great family destined for trials and greatness. Among his many sons, there was one who shined brighter than the rest. His name was Yusuf. From the very beginning, Yusuf was different. His heart was pure, his face radiant, and his manners gentle. His father Yaqub could see in him a light that others could not. He loved all of his children dearly, but Yusuf held a special place in his heart. And that love, though pure and sincere, became a source of envy for his brothers. One night, young Yusuf came to his father with an extraordinary dream. His innocent eyes sparkled with wonder as he described what he had seen. It was no ordinary dream. But he also knew the heart of Yusuf's brothers, filled with jealousy, struggling with envy, and so he gently advised Yusuf to keep this dream to himself, to guard it as a secret until the time was right. Little did Yusuf know this dream was the beginning of a journey that would take him through valleys of sorrow, oceans of temptation, and prisons of despair, only to rise again with dignity, faith, and honor. This was the beginning of one of the most beautiful and powerful stories in history. As Yusuf grew, so did the love his father felt for him. Yaqub would often look at Yusuf's face and see a reflection of purity, wisdom, and a future filled with greatness. But this special affection did not go unnoticed. His brothers, strong and older, began to whisper among themselves, "Why does our father love Yusuf more than us? Are we not many and he only one? We work, we labor, we serve." Yet his eyes always turn toward Yusuf. Jealousy is a dangerous fire. It burns quietly in the heart until it pushes people to do the unthinkable. The brothers' heart darkened with envy. What began as irritation grew into anger, and anger soon turned into a plan. One day they gathered in secret and said to each other, "We must rid ourselves of Yusuf. Then our father will turn his love to us. Without him, we will finally have what we deserve." Some suggested the most evil idea, to kill Yusuf, but another said, "No, do not kill him. Cast him into a distant well. A caravan may pass by and take him away. Our hands will be clean, and our father will forget him." And so the plot was set. They returned home with false smiles, pretending all was well. "Father," they said, "why do you never let Yusuf come with us? Send him with us tomorrow. We will take him to the field, let him play, and he will enjoy himself. Surely we will protect him." Jacob's heart was heavy. He sensed danger. He feared jealousy, but he did not want to seem unfair. After their insistence, with great reluctance, he allowed Yusuf to go, entrusting his beloved son to the care of his brother, unaware that betrayal was waiting just ahead. For Yusuf, it was just another day, filled with innocence and trust. But for his brothers, it was the day they had been waiting for, the day their jealousy would finally take its course. And so, with envy burning in their hearts, they led Yusuf away toward the cruel plan they had advised. The sun was bright as the brothers led Yusuf far from home. Their faces showed smiles, but their heart did hate darkness. Little Yusuf walked alongside them with innocence, unaware of what was about to happen. When they reached a lonely place, their tuned intentions came alive. The brothers turned on him. Their hands, once those of family, became hands of betrayal. Their They seized him, ignoring his cries, silencing his questions. With hearts hardened by jealousy, they dragged Yusuf towards a deep and dark well. The silence of the wilderness echoed with the sound of his voice. My brothers, why? What have I done? But their envy had deafened them. They lowered him into the well, rope slipping through their hands, until the beloved son of Jacob was swallowed by the shadows, alone, frightened, surrounded by darkness. The cool water beneath him, the stone walls around him. Above, his brothers looked at each other. Their plan was complete. They convinced themselves this was for their own good, for their father's love, and then, without looking back, they left him there, a young boy abandoned by those who should have protected him. But the story did not end there, for Allah had destined Yusuf for greatness, even in the bottom of a well. He was never truly alone. That night, the brothers returned home carrying false tears on their faces. They came to their father crying, holding Yusuf's shirt stained with false blood. Father, they said, a wolf devoured Yusuf while we were away. We could not save him. Jacob's heart broke, but deep inside he knew he saw through their deception. His beloved son was gone, yet his fatherly instinct whispered Yusuf was alive. Meanwhile, far away, footsteps approached the well. A caravan of travelers journeying across the land stopped to fetch water. One of them lowered his bucket, and to his shock, when he pulled it back up, there was a boy clinging to it. Good news, he cried. Here is a boy. They looked at Yusuf, a child with a noble face, and decided to take him. To them, he was not a miracle, but a chance for trade. They kept him hidden like a piece of merchandise, ready to be sold in the markets of Egypt. Thus, from the darkness of a well, Yusuf's journey moved towards a new chapter, one filled with trials, but also with the light of destiny. The caravan that discovered Yusuf carried him across deserts until they reached the land of Egypt, a place of wealth, power, and civilization. But to the travelers, Yusuf was nothing more than a boy to be sold. In the busy marketplace where traders shouted and coins clinked, Yusuf was put up for sale. Buyers examined him as if he were an object, not a child. But among the crowd was a man of high rank, the chief minister of Egypt. He saw in Yusuf something different, something noble and unique. Turning to his wife, he said, perhaps he may be of benefit to us. Let us care for him as our own son. And so Yusuf was taken into a palace, a place of luxury and education. Though torn from his father's homeland, he now lived among marble walls, fine garments, and royal servants. But Yusuf carried with him something far more valuable than gold or silk: patience, dignity, and faith in Allah. As the years passed, Yusuf grew into a handsome young man. His character was pure, his manners gentle, his speech wise. Everyone who met him felt his presence, a presence that carried honesty and light. But with beauty often comes trial. The wife of his minister, who had once treated him as a son, began to notice his striking appearance. Her admiration turned into desire, and her desire into temptation. This test was not just about Yusuf's innocence, but about his strength, his faith, and his ability to resist the whisper of sin. In the palace of Egypt, surrounded by wealth and luxury, Yusuf was about to face one of the greatest trials of his life. As Yusuf grew into manhood, his beauty became unmatched. His presence was noble, his manners pure, and his heart untainted. But it was precisely this beauty and character that became a trial. The wife of the minister, the very woman entrusted with his care, began to look at him not as a guardian but with eyes of desire. Day after day, her thoughts grew darker. Her admiration turned into longing, and longing went into temptation. One day, when the palace halls were quiet and the servants were gone, she closed the door and invited Yusuf into her private chamber. Her voice, soft yet insistent, carried a dangerous invitation. Come to me, she whispered. For a moment, time seemed to stop. Yusuf stood at the edge of one of the greatest tests of his life. He was a young man alone in a place where no eyes could see except the eyes of Allah. But Yusuf's heart was stronger than his desire. He turned away. His soul trembled, not with weakness, but with faith. He said no to what many would have said yes, for he knew that temporary pleasure could never equal the eternal reward of the purity. Angered by his refusal, she rushed towards him, reaching out. Yusuf fled, running towards the door, desperate to escape. In the struggle, she caught hold of his shirt, tearing it from behind. At that very moment, the door opened, and there stood her husband, the minister. Shock filled the air. In her panic, she quickly shifted blame. What should be the punishment? She cried. For someone who intended evil toward your wife. But truth has a way of revealing itself. A witness from her own household spoke. If Joseph's shirt was torn from the front, he was guilty. But if it was torn from the back, then he was the one who had fled, and she was the one at fault. And there it was, the shirt torn from behind, clear proof of Yusuf's innocence. The minister, though embarrassed, tried to calm the matter. He turned to his wife and said, "Seek forgiveness of your sin, for you were truly in the wrong." Yet the trial did not end here. The whisper spread across the city. Women began to gossip, mocking the minister's wife for desiring her servant. Her pride wounded. She invited them to the gathering, placing fruits and knives before them. When she summoned Yusuf to appear before them, his beauty struck with their eyes like lightning. They gasped, cutting their hands in astonishment, exclaiming, "This is no mortal man, this is an angel." Her point was proven. Yusuf was indeed extraordinary, but the trial on his soul only deepened. For despite his innocence, despite his purity, the shadow of temptation and scandal followed him, and soon the walls of a prison would close around him, not as punishment for a crime, but as shield from sin, and a part of the destiny Allah and had written for him. Despite his innocence, Yusuf was dragged into prison, not because he had committed a crime, but because he had chosen purity over sin. The palace could not bear the scandal, and the easiest way to silence the whispers was to lock him away. The heavy doors closed behind him, and Yusuf found himself surrounded by cold walls and iron bars. But even in prison, he carried himself with dignity. His faith, his patience, and his calm spirit made him stand out among the other prisoners. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Yusuf became a source of comfort for those around him. Where others saw despair, he gave hope. Where others complained, he reminded them of patience. Even in the darkness of a cell, Yusuf shone like a lamp of guidance. Among his companions were two young men who had been imprisoned for crimes against the king. Both of them had strange dreams that troubled them deeply. They turned to Yusuf knowing he was a man of wisdom. One said, "I dreamed that I was pressing wine for a king." The other said, I dreamed that the birds were eating bread from my hand." They looked at Yusuf with pleading eyes. "Tell us what these dreams mean." Yusuf listened carefully and with calm words he explained. To the first, he said, "You will be freed and once again serve wine to the king." To the second, his voice softened. "But you will be executed, and birds will indeed eat from your head." The prisoners were shocked, but soon events unfolded exactly as Yusuf said. One man was freed, the other faced the fate Yusuf had foretold. Before the freedman left, Yusuf asked him, "Remember me before your master. Tell the king of my innocence." The man promised, but once free, he forgot. Years passed, Yusuf remained behind the prison walls. Yet those years were not wasted. They were years of growth, patience, and preparation, for Allah was shaping him, training him for the great task that lay ahead. Then one night the king of Egypt himself awoke, troubled by a dream so strange that none of the advisors, magicians, or wise men could explain. In his dream, 7 fat cows were eaten by 7 lean ones, and 7 green ears of grain were followed by 7 dry ones. The king was disturbed, restless, desperate for answers. It was then that the freed prisoner remembered Yusuf, striking his forehead. He cried, "I know someone who can interpret dreams with truth." And soon a messenger was sent racing to the prison, carrying the king's dream to Yusuf. Calmly with wisdom, Yusuf explained the dream. For 7 years, Egypt will see great harvest. Store the grain carefully. After that, 7 years of drought will come, and the people will survive only through what they have saved. Then will come a year of relief when rain will return and people rejoice. The king was astonished. At last, he had found a man of truth, wisdom, and foresight. But before Yusuf would leave the prison, he demanded justice. "Let me innocence be proven before I step out," he said, and so the truth of the scandal with the minister's wife was revealed clearly. Yusuf's name for all to see. From prisoner to saver, from accused to honored, Yusuf's journey was about to reach new chapter. A chapter where patience would be rewarded and destiny would unfold. Years had passed. Egypt had survived the 7 years of prosperity and the 7 years of famine under Yusuf wise planning. His reputation had spread across the land as a man of knowledge, fairness, and deep faith. People came from far and wide to seek food during the famine, and his storehouses never rained empty. And Allah's blessing was with him. One day, news spread through the palace that a group of travelers had arrived from Canaan once again. They were humble shepherds, dusty from the long desert road, and they sought provisions. Yusuf immediately recognized them. It was his brothers. This time they brought their father, Yaqub, and the entire family alone, for they had been invited by Yusuf to settle in Egypt where food and safety were abundant. When Yusuf saw his father Yaqub after so many long years, his heart overflowed with tears. He rushed forward, embraced him, and held him for a long moment. Their reunion was one of pure love, forgiveness, and gratitude to Allah for all the pain and patience of the past had now turned into joy. Then, as they entered the palace, Yusuf raised his parents upon the throne as a sign of honor and respect. It was in that very moment that something incredible happened. Yaqub, his parents, and all the brothers bowed before Yusuf in respect and gratitude. And Yusuf suddenly remembered the dream he had seen as a young boy, the dream of the sun, the moon, and 11 stars bowing down to him. After all these years, the dream had come true exactly as he had once seen it. What he had been showing as a child was now a living reality. But Yusuf did not take pride in himself. Instead, he bowed his head in humility and said with tears in his eyes, "Indeed, my Lord has been kind to me. He brought me out of the prison, he reunited me with my family after separations, and he fulfilled his promise." This was not a moment of victory for Yusuf alone, but a lesson for the world that no matter how difficulty the journey, no matter how deep the betrayal, patience and trust in Allah will always lead to honor and success in the end. The story of Yusuf came full circle beginning with the dream of a child tested with betrayal, slavery, and prison, and ending with forgiveness, power, and fulfillment. Truly, Allah's plan is perfect. And so, dear listeners, the story of Yusuf al-Islam reaches its beautiful end. From a young boy with an innocent dream, betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, tested with temptation, thrown into prison, and then raised to power. His entire life was a masterpiece of patience, faith, and trust in Allah's perfect plan. This story is not just history, it is a living reminder for every heart that is broken, for every soul that feels abandoned, and for every believer who is struggling in silence. Just as Yusuf's hardship turned into honor, your pain too can turn into blessings. If only you hold on to patience and faith. Life will always bring betrayal, challenges, and trial, but remember the one who controls the outcome is Allah alone. What people plan for evil, Allah can turn into good. What looks like loss today can become your victory tomorrow. And what feels like the end can actually be the beginning of something far greater. Let us take inspiration from Yusuf al-Islam. Number one, to forgive even when we have the power to take revenge. Number two, to remain pure even when temptation surrounded us. Number three, to trust Allah even when the world turns against us. O Allah, just as you honored Yusuf al-Islam after hardship, honor us after our struggle. O Allah, grant us patience in trials, purity in our heart, and forgiveness toward those who wrong us. Reunite us with our loved ones in happiness, just as you reunited Yusuf with his father. O Allah, make our ending beautiful, our dreams fulfilled, and our lives a testimony of faith and trust in you. Amin, Ya Rabbul Alameen. My dear friends, if this story of Yusuf al Islam touched your heart, don't forget to like this video and share it with your family and friends so they too can learn the lessons of patience, faith, and forgiveness. Subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon so you never miss another inspiring Islamic story. In the comments below, tell us which part of Yusuf's story inspired you the most. Together, let's spread the light of Islam one story at a time. Allah Hafiz.